Hello, loyal listeners. This is Addie. As many of you know, devastating wildfires have swept through parts of California over the past few days, leaving destruction in their wake. Our dear friend and podcast guest, Shannon McConnell, and her husband, Scott, were among those affected, losing their home to the fires. The entire Artbox team sends our heartfelt thoughts, support, and best wishes to Shannon, Scott, and all the families impacted by this tragic event. We stand with you during this difficult time.
Welcome to the Art Box, your podcast dedicated to exploring the vibrant art scene in Nevada and beyond. Join us as we embark on a journey through galleries, theaters, studios, public lands, and streetscapes, meeting the artists, curators, archaeologists, nature lovers, and cultural influencers who shape our creative community and our world. Whether you're looking for your next cultural adventure, seeking inspiration for your own artistic pursuits, or simply curious about the world of art, tune into the Art Box. Together, let's open up a world of creativity and imagination. Let's dive in.
Dreams, what if the night is about you and me? So lift your head up to the sky.
Hey, Floyd, that was fantastic. Your art is just phenomenal. Congratulations on Best of Show.
Thank you, Linda. Nice to be a part of the show again, and with all the wonderful pieces that are in the exhibit for this month. Great to be a part of it all.
There were some great, colorful pieces, and your Best of Show was a black and white. Tell us about it.
My history of doing white on black, but it goes back to the 1950s when my brother was in art school. He was introduced to scratchboard, in which case you're working with a piece of scratchboard, and then you put ink on it, and then you scratch away to get white on black. And that's, absolute hard edge white on black. And he showed me a drawing that he did of Marlon Brando. And I thought it was just so fantastic. So I went home and he gave me a piece of scratch. So I started fooling around with this, and I did 3 or 4 pieces. And I guess I still have one of them at home. I kind of drifted away from that. Here it is 30 or 40 years later. Then I started thinking about that by using the same technique, by using a totally black piece of artboard and then using white pencil. Instead of scratching away the image, I would just be adding a little bit at a time. And then it got to be kind of fascinating. Actually, the first one that I did was one that I did of Boris Karloff. My son, who was a teenager at the time, was kind of fascinated by monster movies and scary movies. So he asked me to do this one of him. And so I did it and got it done. And then he was having a good time with his friends to come over. He says, now look at this drawing of Boris Karloff and watch his eyes. He says, you move from one part of the picture and walk across in front, and the eyes are going to follow you. And, of course, what happens is that a person looking at it, the eyes don't move, but the person is moving and viewing it, so you get the feeling that those eyes are following you as you move from one side. So I got such a kick out of that for my son telling his buddies, having this imaginary spooky eyes following on the painting. So I didn't get credit for that, but it added to my fascination of wanting to do white on black.
So this piece was Michael Jordan, correct?
Mm-hmm. And I chose to do the one of Michael Jordan back from, again, with my son and I being at a celebrity golf tournament at Lake Tahoe. And we were following Charles Barkley and Joe Namath and other celebrities, but we spent most of the time kind of following Michael Jordan as he was playing. And as he was passing from one hole to the next, he passed right in front of us, and my son just spoke up as a teenager, says, "Good playing, Michael." And then Michael added, "Thanks." So the two of them had a one-on-one conversation.
Yeah,
so
that's
that was just kind of fun. So I kind of had that one. So I got the inspiration for doing the drawing, and then I'd like the painting to be for him when after the exhibit is over. So
That's a wonderful gift for him. He will love that.
That'll be good.
So the white was more the highlights, and the shadow is the dark paper coming through, and because the theme was cast shadows.
I could use a real cornball and kind of a ridiculous comparison. When Michelangelo did sculptures, he would have a big piece of marble in front of him, and he said, "My statue is already in there. All I have to do is cut away the unknown pieces." And so, hey, that's a little bit like me when I go for a white on black. I've got a black piece of paper. The image is already done. I just have to cut away the extras around it now. So I kind of have that humorous side note for while I'm doing the drawings, and to start out usually with the white pencil, very lightly sketching the image on, and then once it's just very lightly drawn, then I would start to go in for the deepest parts first. The whites of the eyes and the tips of the nose, which would be the whitest that I want to have done, and then just gradually work backward from that. And then the danger is not to get too carried away with it, and to leave as much of the actual black as possible, because part of the fascination is the enjoyment that I get out of doing the artwork, that I find myself just wanting to kind of, in my enthusiasm, to keep going, with the danger I might end up with a whole piece of white Prismacolor board.
It's so easy to overdo it, isn't it?
And the only black that I would use on that painting would be at the very, very tail end, if I need some very specific black to go over the white sketchiness, like the eyebrows or eyelashes, for something like that, or the nostrils. But outside of that, it's just the white Prismacolor pencil on the art blackboard, and it can become rather dramatic.
Well, it certainly was dramatic, and I noticed there's so many soft edges. Do you rub the pencil to make those soft edges, or?
That was it. If I used just a little bit of black Prismacolor pencil, and then put white with just a touch of the black, that would end up being a little bit of the graying process.
Okay. My first thought when I saw that, other than, wow, this is phenomenal, I don't know that I've ever seen anything quite like this, was, what do you do if you make a mistake with that white pencil? How do you get that out? Like with paint, you can paint over it.
Are you accusing me of making mistakes?
Oh, no, I would never accuse you of that.
Well,
I'm thinking about me.
No, the simple answer would be to have the black Prismacolor pencil. So that would be if the white gets overdone a little bit, you don't want to depend on it, because the danger is that the black Prismacolor pencil can show up as an element other than the board. But like when you're doing like an eyelash or an eyebrow or something, there it's intentional. You try to stay away from making any mistake.
Oh, I'm sure, but I have to ask because I'm the person that has moved an eye 3 times during a watercolor. So, and I was able to get the eye out and do other things to move that eye. But and I know Floyd is a real professional, isn't he, Steve?
I was trying to be quiet this whole time. You move an entire island?
Yeah, I have 3 times on one painting.
I'm going to have to see that painting.
But Floyd is a true professional. He makes very few mistakes. So,
well, the fascination is, I would really kind of encourage anybody who does drawings of portraits to try black on white, because it's almost like going to art school over again. In education, instead of doing black on white, you can learn in your own process of trying a complete flip-flop of how you approach doing the piece of art by taking white away from a subject to get an image, instead of black to add to an image to get it.
So you would encourage people to try
Yeah.
white on black?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think it would be a great learning experience.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's every time I do a piece of art, I figure it's a learning experience, and that would certainly be a dramatic way to find yourself looking at images differently than you would when it's black on white. You're adding things, and the other thing that's interesting is that if I have a photograph of Michael Jordan, it could be a photograph that could be having a lot of grays in it and not a stark black and white. And so then I have to kind of choose, what do I want to overemphasize and what do I want to eliminate completely? So it's part of a guessing game as far as how you want to handle it. But I feel that the more of the black board that you can keep, the more dramatic it'll be.
Absolutely. Well, next month's category, have you already started on your...
Yeah, I've got one underway of doing one of Taylor Swift.
And next month is A Touch of Red, right?
Right.
So that should be really interesting.
So the touch of red is going to be her lipstick to have on the painting. So
I like that.
So I've been struggling with that one for quite a while. So I've still got a couple of weeks to get it done. So, to get it finished. And how about you? Will you be entering one too?
Well, typical me, I'll probably wait till the last 2 or 3 days and then try to work frantically, only focused on that, coming out just to grab a bite of something to eat. I'm not as diligent. It'll be fun. It's always fun. I love to go to the gallery and meet the other artists. I know you and I are kind of similar in this way. It's a nice cherry on top of the ice cream if we win an award, but we really just love to put our work in and see what the other artists are doing. It's so fun to do that, isn't it?
Well, it's so good for the artist to see what other
Yes.
artists are doing and how they're doing it. When they're trying something new and different, that becomes a little exciting to
It is.
to see the new thought processes that go into each piece.
Floyd, thanks for coming today.
Well, I thank you for the interview, and keep up the great work on your art and your photography, and I'll keep trying too.
That's wonderful.
Well, we're ready for next month, but you'll probably win again.
Heavens.
So it'll be back with Linda interviewing you.
Oh, no.
You were supposed to be the host. You got to quit winning.
Well, next time I'll interview
No.
myself, if there is a next time.
We've been talking about that.
Well, I would be a tough interviewer.
Broadcasting from the Mesquite Works Steam Center in the scenic Mojave Desert, the Art Box sponsors thank you for listening. You can find us on Spotify, Samsung, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, and Amazon Music. Please subscribe so you don't miss an episode. We are on Facebook and Instagram as The Art Box. We welcome all comments. You can email us at artboxvv@gmail.com. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of its hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect those of our sponsors.
Then I see the